Somebody likes the early morning walks, and I don't mean Clare.
Ow! Beautiful morning. Not a cloud in the sky. And of course, the cat has to come too.
The lambs are getting big, aren't they?
What else was there? Did you have a nice walkies? Did you? Did you have a nice walkies? Okay, ow, 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 ow. Good morning! It's a beautiful day and I have a problem. A big problem. I want to show you. Oh, if it's not for the slugs, it's every other pest that seems to wander into this garden. No, I don't have a massive pest problem, but I've just noticed these this morning. They may have been there yesterday. I didn't spend a lot of time here yesterday because I was busy rearranging our receipts for the grant. This is my problem. Look at these. Can you see them? Little aphids all over my broad beans. I don't know if they're black fly or green fly. I mean they're green, but everything that I read about talks about black fly. Anyway, either way, I've made up a solution of washing up liquid and water, really soapy, and I'm just going over every single plant, giving them a bit of a drenching. So I'll show you what I'm doing. It's very cruel because they're clearly just drowning in this. I hope that will get rid of them. Somebody had said online that if you have signs of ants crawling up the stems of the beans as well, they're also getting in on the action and fueling it by, I can't remember what they do now, but we had that problem with, what do we have that problem with? I'll have to ask Rob. But anyway, I am literally spraying the bejesus out of them with soapy water. They really don't like it, with the hope that I'm getting it all the way down. They're even at the fucking base, if there's any new shoots at the base. They clearly like the new shoots. They're all hanging around the top of the bean. So if anybody has any other ideas, I'm hoping that this will just rid them, or I might have to do it maybe a couple of times. But if anybody else has any other ideas on how to combat this, let me know. It is a pain, but look, I suppose this is all part of gardening. Gotta take the good with the bad. And apparently this won't hurt things like the ladybirds or the shield bugs or anything like that live on, will eat these aphids. Hoping we should be good. God, look at them on there. I don't know if you can see this. They are just absolutely ravenous on this one. Yeah. So I hope I've caught them in time. They haven't ruined my beans. But we'll see. Giving them a good old soaking. They probably were here fucking yesterday. I was out here on Thursday and I didn't notice anything. So I don't know. Anyway, we'll see how it goes.
Hey folks, just wanted to share with you a project we've been working on with the Patreons. We wanted something that'll bridge our YouTube channel with you guys, the awesome community. If you would like a piece of digital art that I created sent to you as a postcard with a message from us, then head on over to our Ko-fi store, pick up one of these bad boys, and we will send it out to you.
The number of prints are limited, so if you want one, head over now. Or join our Patreon and be involved in other projects like this one.
Good morning from a glorious West Cork. Oh my god, I can get used to these days. But before I get too used to them, it's time to tackle these. The last time we did any work upstairs was a few days before Christmas when we got our kids into the house. When we got them in settled, they wanted out of the caravan. It was a little Christmas present for them. We left the whole house, the old house, we left it, and we gave all our attention then on the kind of the envelope, we're calling it, which is how we feel is a sensible way to insulate an old house. We didn't want to make the rooms smaller with insulation. We didn't want to put external insulation on, so what we did was we built a frame all the way around the house, the east, north and west side, and we boxed it out, timber frame, put the insulation in. The south side of the house, as you can see here, is in full sunlight. We didn't want any insulation on that because effectively it's a heat store. So that's the only little bit of work we did to the house, was to get the kids in upstairs. Now, the outside envelope is pretty much, we're in there. We're just about to paint the walls and do the floor in there. So we're coming back to the house. We're going to go upstairs now. I have some additional plasterboard and joint filler. I actually have, can you see it? My tool belt is back in action for framing. I wonder if it'll still fit. And yeah, let's go up and see where we are. Once the house is done, actually, you can see there's a bit of conduiting and a bit of electrical. So we're going to take, we have a consumer unit, I'll show you in a minute, at the front side of the house. We're going to take it all the way around the house, all the way up our little courtyard there. I got to dig a huge hole in this wall. I got to take the conduit straight across over to the pump house, and then I got to dig another conduit or channel all the way down to their ESP line. So we don't want the power coming in here. We don't want to use this consumer unit here. We want to take the power underground to the pump house. That's where all the controls and everything's going to be, all the way underground to the front of the house, in through here, and this is where we want our actual power to be coming in. So after we're finished with the main house and the upstairs, that's what we're going to be going at. Let's have a look. You guys ain't been up here in quite some time. I built this temporary little support, or I don't know, safety thing so the kids wouldn't fall over. One of the last jobs I do up here is to frame kind of a hot press, and this is our solar thermal water cylinder. We have our two solar thermal pipes coming in here. They'll all need to be plumbed up. We have our hot and cold water just coupled there. They all need to be done. We have a whole bunch of let me show you Kira's room. We have a whole bunch of plumbing and bathroom, showers, whatever to be done in here. Then we have all, just to tie up the vapor barriers up there, plasterboard the ceiling, plasterboard the wall, vapor barrier the wall. But it's this job here. I left a good big opening in my stud walls here so that I could come back in the future and frame the windows, put a little bit of a reveal. These old buildings would have had kind of an angled reveal to let in as much light, and I think I'm just going to do a straight bottom on this. I don't know really. I got to plan this out a little bit, see what I want to do. I want to use the offcuts that I have, and I think I had about 4 or 5 8-meter lengths of 8x2s that I turned into about 10 4-meter lengths of 8x2s. So I want to rip them down on the table saw and turn into 20 4-meter lengths of 2x4s. I'm hoping I'll get all the framing done with that. I don't want to buy any more, but I will if I have to. So I need to frame this window, throw in some insulation, then vapor barrier. I have all of the wiring in situ. I need to vapor barrier this and plasterboard it. I need to then do some plumbing here after the framing. I'm going to go across to Ashton's room, which is, well, he's still in there now, I'll leave him be, but it's essentially the same. I have to do the window reveal, I have to vapor barrier, I have to insulate, and yeah, get the kids back up here. Another thing we have is this space, which is in between both rooms. I want to frame around that again. I'll do this maybe last, but I want to frame there. And we're going to put 2 little seats here, just a little chill out area for the kids. If they want to have someone over, they can maybe use this space, or I think it's just going to look nice. I want to put a library on that wall there. Actually, it's a library on this wall here. It's a bit deeper. And just floor to ceiling with all the books. We have a lot of books from when the kids were young, and some other books that they're into, like Kira used to be in. I think it's called I Zombie or something like that, when she was like an early tweenie. And Ash is into kind of graphic novels, some manga stuff. So yeah, so we'd like a place just to keep all their library collection out here. And the hot press then is going to be quite generous. We have the cylinder here. We're also going to have the expansion for the cylinder. We are also going to have the pump down here for the thermal. There's also a controller for the thermal. And we want to fill it with loads of really deep shelves for kind of like sheets and whatever you normally put in the hot press. This, I'm gonna dismantle it because I need to take full sheets of plasterboard up, and the easiest way is just straight up over it. And we will then need to think about how to finish the floor. Clare sanded and gave it, I think, 2 coats of varnish. I think we may need to take it back with the sander and give it quite a little bit more coats of varnish. But essentially, we have rugs, so we're going to throw a huge rug in the middle. That'll be good for the most part, and the bed's covering it, so you only really see a little bit of flooring. I really like the OSB. I'd almost paint the OSB white. I like that look, but with kids' rooms, that'll be destroyed. So that's the plan. Any thoughts on finish, let me know. This is a desk that Kira made. It's quite a cool desk, actually. It's fairly well reinforced, and she put her TV up there, so I must make efforts to avoid it somehow. It's pretty good wall stand, so I just need to work here. Plasterboard's there, that's fine. Yeah, that's it. I don't think there's anything else. Let's get down to the barn and rip up some wood. So I got a bit distracted doing a strimmer for Clare. We have this Parkside strimmer, and the pull cord's broke, the choke button's broke, and now the accelerator cable is broke. I don't know how long it's worth investing time in these Parkside products. Parkside are a little brand. They're fantastic for general use, but for what we're doing, they don't last, and they take so long to repair. So I'm a bit behind schedule. I managed to cut 2 2x4s from my 8x2. I mean, it's cutting okay. It's still sticking. Can somebody tell me? I have a little bit of rust or a little bit of burn on this blade. Can somebody tell me, is this okay? Is this what's causing it to stick once it gets hot? Do I need a new blade? Because I'll show you now in a minute. I just can't push these. Like, there's a good weight in this 8x2, and I just can't push them through. I'll show you what I mean. Well, annoyingly, that seemed to cut without problem. I don't know at the end if you saw it just begun to stick at the end. Just before I recorded with you, I put on some grease onto the rusty or burnt parts. It seems to work for a little bit, but I am aware that grease is just going to attract all of the sawdust and crap, so it's not long term. Let me know if this blade needs to be changed. I'll try another one. Okay. Well, you could definitely see there on that one at the beginning and a little bit at the end, it just wasn't happy going through it. Is it the table saw? Is not the best quality? Is it there's not enough weight holding down the wood because it's quite heavy wood? Or is it the actual saw itself? I mean, it seems to cut fine, but maybe the blade itself is a bit rusty or bad. Anyway, whatever you think, let me know. I have 24 meters of 2x4, so I'm going to take that upstairs and start looking at the window. I think I'll just pull them in through the window. It's going to be the easiest. Okay, so let's get these up. Although as I'm looking at them, I am thinking it's not a lot of room to store a 4-meter length up here. So I'm wondering if I should leave them outside, cut them to fit. That's annoying. Anyway, let's get some air in here anyhow. It is boiling. You can also see that these have been foamed in, which is okay because this is a concrete wall. It's not stone up here, but there's kind of nothing holding it in together. So we have to sort that out. Yeah, there's no room at all for it. Okay, so that's not a good idea. Okay, I'll cut them downstairs. I'm just going to have a little think now about how I'm going to build this. I'll get back to you in a minute. Okay guys, I've thought this through and I think I'm only going to keep the reveal on the top here. A couple of reasons for that. Those of you with us from the beginning will know that there's a bow in the wall. This is one of the reasons I didn't want to mess with it. So here we can see 30 centimeters to the outside, but on the other wall you can see it's 33. What that reflects is this kind of wall bowing out a little bit. What that means is I can do a custom reveal on top. That just means it's going to go down as a slope, so more light will flood the top of the room, but on the sides they're going to look different. So I have a sense that the reveal, it's going to be tricky to do, but I think it's going to look weird. So the easiest way to avoid that problem is to just have a 90 degree, so it looks straight and your eyes are drawn to the reveal on the top. I think that makes sense. I'm going to put it's not really a lintel, but I'm just going to put this about that height and run some plasterboard down. I'm probably going to mount a piece of 2x4 just above it on the wall there and run the plasterboard down to it. I'm going to do some jack studs then up to the rafters, just keeping it nice and simple. This wall, for those of you that don't know, this wall is not really doing anything. It's just transferring a little bit of the weight down to the floor. But this is a concrete wall. This is the wall plates. This is the majority of where our structural support comes from. this just splits it a little bit and it takes a little bit of the weight off the wall straight down onto the old stone wall, which is about 1 meter thick down here at the bottom. What I have here is a frame attached to the wall, which I'm going to put a little batten on the bottom of it and attach a piece of plasterboard from here to here. It's going to be a bit of insulation on top. At the sides, I've just, this is super secure. I've just put a little bit of noggin into the wall and I'm just going to attach this to it. This is going to stop it from pulling inwards, and the cement on the outside stops it from going outwards, and it provides a point to fit the plasterboard to. So we have a nice wide patch here where we can put insulation. This is quite narrow, so we may have to, I think, put a net at the back and just stuff that full of insulation, because we really want to keep as much as this air gap, just to get airflow from the roof down behind the walls here for a bit of ventilation, because they are stone down there and we do want just a free flow of moisture. Same with the other side. We've done another support just underneath here, and it seems to have gone a little bit offline here when I was attaching it to the wall. And then what we have is we have the front of, this is going to be like a shelf, and the plasterboard is just going to run downwards, so if there's any condensation or any rain or anything gets in, it's going to come forward and over here, so hopefully we won't have any water sitting at the back. So we need to get some nets up. Claire has an idea of some old gardening nets I think will work. She did use, can we see it here, she did use some string, and that's doing a pretty decent job, but it's not actually the best to keep the insulation, and it's fine for keeping in big things like that, but if we're probably going to be using rock wool, we will just want a little bit better insulation. So right now I'm just going to do a few vertical pieces just to tie it in. I mean, it's perfectly fine as it is, but it's just going to help me to attach the plasterboard in a straight line here, so I'm going to do them. But that's a pretty decent start. A bit annoyed that I can't do the reveal on the sides. I don't know if you can see it. Get some tape. Even here at the top it's like 29.5, and at the bottom it's like 29, so the top pushes in, and on this side we've got 26, and at the bottom we have 26. So this side is pretty straight. This is where the bow is, so it's not ideal. So because of that, we're just going to go with a single reveal on top. It's easier to build as well.
Good morning, and I'm back at the broad beans. Now, I had sprayed these yesterday, I think I showed you, because they were covered in aphids, and I'm just looking this morning and I can see we still have a lot of aphids on them, so this is clearly going to be a couple of goes at trying to get rid of these. But I'm not going to do that now. I'm going to come out tonight and do it, I think. If you can see there's one just on the leaves there crawling around. So the little feckers, they are difficult to rid. So in the meantime, I don't know if I did mention this or not, but the beans are very yellow. Both lots of beans. These French beans, they're growing, but they're just yellow. And it's the same with these ones. I'm just trying to figure out what's wrong. I did a lot of reading yesterday, and from a lot of the books it said that they are nitrogen deficient. So I've decided to make a batch of my own fertilizer. Found a barrel with a lid, and I'm going to pop some grass clippings in and make my own fertilizer. I did a little bit of reading on this, and it said sort of 3 days or so, once it started to break down, you can use it on your plants. So we're going to have a go at that and see what happens. He had a serious attack of slugs. Slugs have just been a mental problem. And so I went out and splashed out some new squash plants. I have a butternut squash, a golden ball squash, butternut squash, golden ball zucchini, I think this is yellow, long zucchini, I think. And also, we don't know quite what happened to my rhubarb. The rhubarb sort of just died to death. Now, I can't say I minded it, but we also got 3 rhubarb plants. One here, and three different varieties. One is called Champagne, and I actually can't for the life of me now at this moment remember what the others are called. Just a few new additions. Potatoes are flowering like crazy. This variety here, which are, what are they, second earlies, seriously flowering. First earlies have flowers on them as well, and my main crop are up already. They have to be mulched, so getting there with those. But I'm just worried about these beans because I've planted peas as well, and I don't want the same thing to happen to the peas, so I've decided I've got to combat this somehow. So I'm filling up my barrel here, and all I'm going to do is put a pile of grass clippings and nettles. Nettles are apparently good pesticide. I'm just going to chop them in, literally like this. Maybe you could use something a bit more efficient than the scissors, but at the moment this is what I have to hand. So I'm hoping, today is Sunday, so hopefully by sort of Wednesday this might be ready to take some out of to use on the beans in an attempt to kind of bring them back to life. They're not dying, but my worry is that they will eventually be just too sick to continue living. I don't know if it's because I did the no dig method. Maybe people can let me know what they think of that. There's dock leaves and all sorts going in here. Okay, so I just thought I'd quickly show you this. We put a dead hedge in as soon as the trees started coming down, which was a couple of months back now, and we clearly still have a lot of work to do on that. But the dead hedge has been great, and this is why. This little native hedge we planted back on Stephen's Day, or Boxing Day to some of you, and it just wanted to show how well they've come along. Now the grass was this high, and that's fine because we like to leave some of it as meadow. Rooney absolutely loves, and the cats love playing in it, and I don't want it to be just one big urban garden, so we're going to keep little pieces like this long. But I trimmed these trees because we couldn't see them for the grass, and I just thought I'd show you them now. You can see the line going down. It's lawnmower width across from the dead hedge. Yeah, you know what? They've done okay. There's the odd one where I'd like to start naming off what they are now. Alder, definitely oak. Not sure. Looks like silver birch maybe. This one. This was a copper beech, which I'm surprised about actually, because all of the other copper beeches in the back garden have come on really well. So I'll have to replace that one. But I'm after finding 2 cherries actually that I'm going to put in, wild cherries. This isn't looking the best. Actually, if you're never quite sure whether something is dead, you just take your nail and give it a little pick at the bottom, and if it's still green, which it is, it'll come back. So I'll leave that one alone. The rest here seem to be, yeah, they're really happy. This one doesn't look too good. Still a bit of green there, so we'll leave that one alone. This is a rowan, which I actually know very little about, but they just have such a lovely white flower The one we have up in the top of the garden has finished flowering now. And yeah, and these two don't look the best. Now, I don't know that I could have done anything particularly differently, only that I let the grass get a bit too high around them, and I could have cleared them a bit better. I'm actually going to go down and tackle the ones below, so I'll show you those. Also put in Stephen's Day on a bloody cold day, I'll tell you. All in all, not doing too well. Too bad. What am I saying? This little chestnut needs a bit of attention, and this is, by the looks of it, hawthorn maybe, needs a bit of attention as well. This has buds on it but hasn't really come to anything. Again though, the grass just gets so high around them, so today I'm just doing a bit of a trim around, as there's no point putting the time into putting them in if you're not going to maintain the trimming. So that's the aim today, just to get them all trimmed, particularly at this time in the summer and the grass is so high. And then these are main crop potatoes. This last sort of bed here, which has already been mulched with grass, badly needs more mulch. They're already starting to come up. So I've decided I'm going to rake all of this into there as a mulch just for now. So I'm going to put you down, just going to quickly do that, and then I'm going to go down to the bottom of the field and we'll take a look and see how those ones are. I'm just going to start this line and we'll see how we go. See if I can stick you here. So I've just taken there were two little wild cherry trees that we had in the back field. We were taking them out because they're impeding on the area that we're going to use as a car parking space. I don't know how well they're going to grow here. They seem to like being under a canopy like hazel, but we'll see. So I've one I'll show you in a second, and I'm just going to finish off planting this one in. This is just in the gaps in the native hedge. Perfect. So that's one in there, and then the other one I put in was in the gap over here. You can see, because it's sort of the most leafy one so far compared to the other ones, this one. But it does look healthy, so I'm hoping that one will do okay. And that had a nice dollop of compost and a watering can of water, so we see. It's nicer to keep them than to just let them go, you know. We were going to move them anyway, and if I didn't plant them they were going to end up dying, so we'll see. They're meant to be wild cherry. You know what, while I'm here I'm just going to give you a quick update in the greenhouse, which is looking very green and weedy. And you know what, I should have weeded it first before I showed you anything, but tomatoes are absolutely flying up, and super happy. We don't seem to have any yellow leaves, don't seem to have any curly leaves. They're looking really well, so I'm delighted. They've had a lot of seaweed, a lot of horse manure, and so fingers crossed we get a really good crop. I've wired them all up, or not wired them, but strung them up to the bars on the sides, because they are starting to fall over. So, but where did I see it? There are fruit coming. Here's the first one. So I do need to start feeding them, so I might start feeding tonight. We'll see how we go. I also put some sweet alyssum in between. I had read about that. It's really good for pollinators. And also these are marigolds. I think what I'm going to have to do is I may have to just trim out the bottom leaves of the tomatoes, because otherwise we're not going to have a great airflow in there. But yeah, that's them. Then down the middle are my cucumbers, which are equally happy. Now, I was a bit late getting them into the ground, but they are looking good. So here we have some coming. So yeah, We don't eat a whole lot of cucumbers, but I do. There's nothing like the taste of your own ones. The shop ones just really don't do it. So again, they all have to go up to the sky on these strings. And then in between the cucumbers are my peppers. Pretty disappointed with the peppers. They're really not happy. Don't know why. Too much water. Don't know. I'll have to see what's going on there really. I don't know if anybody knows or thinks they might know. Just not happy. They're kind of going yellow. These tomatoes I sort of saved. I wasn't going to put them in. I didn't think I had the space. They're beef tomatoes. They were incredibly yellow, but all of a sudden they've got going. So really looking good. New life in all of them. Had the space, thought look, might as well put them in. So that's those. Aubergines are looking good. We've got some fruit coming. Here and here, or else maybe that's just the flower. I'm not sure. I was eyeing up these on the market in Bantry and thinking how good they looked, and now mine look pretty good, so I'm happy with those. Got strawberries up here. We have eaten some off this now, so there's a few more coming though, ready to be picked. I have a little friend actually who keeps popping in, my robin. I don't mind him coming in as long as the blackbirds don't come in to steal the fruit. A little bit disappointing, but look, I've never grown these before. These are honeydew melons, just completely attacked by the slugs. This might come on, I don't know. I think this one has probably had it. And then these are watermelons, attacked by the slugs. That's also watermelon. And this one, maybe it'll come on, I don't know. They have shown sights of coming on a little bit. These are also watermelons, the baby ones. They look okay, just not terribly happy. And then up in the hanging baskets, which I'm delighted I did, again, we did more strawberries. Everybody in this house likes strawberries, so they're nice to have, and they just keep coming the more you pick them. So delighted with those. So that's the greenhouse. Concentrated an awful lot on the tomatoes, and then everything else sort of got forgotten about a little bit. So look, it's difficult to keep on top of it all, but you just gotta try.
Good morning, guys. It's a bit of a slow one. I didn't get as much as I'd done as I hoped last night because I ran into a bit of a hiccup with the electricals. I forgot, but I quickly remembered. There's a reason why I forgot, no doubt. Last December I was doing the wiring up here, or laying the wires, and I kind of stopped in this corner because I had a notion to run the wirings behind the wall for the downstairs, for the snug, because that's like 80 centimeter wall, so it's not really easy to put wiring in there. I have a socket here and I have the wiring going behind the wall there, but I can't drill straight down because that's just straight into the wall. We can see I have a little point here right there. That's the closest I can run the wires, but that's coming up in the middle of the bedroom. I'll show you where it's coming up downstairs. So that hole we saw in the floor actually comes out there. I can't get any further in along the wall. The wall is too thick, the old stone. So I either bring it down here and hide it on the underside of this beam going all the way across, which is fine because, you know, it's the first beam in front of the fireplace. You're not actually going to see the cable. Or, if I'm super smart, I can bring it down about here. Now, I think this point, this raft or this floorboard actually runs underneath my stud wall. Stud wall is here. If I can bring the wire up through that stud wall, I think I'd be pretty happy. So it's about 4 feet from the wall at the back. So it kind of lines up with the edge of this floorboard, which is right here. This floorboard now up here. And if I drill right there, I hope I will come up through the stud and I can run the wires through the stud. It's a bit messy, but these houses are messy. So I'm going to get a drill. I'm going to shoot a little hole straight up there and hope it comes out in the right spot. We shall see.
Good morning. Oh, it's another gorgeous day, but I am not outside. I am back up on the scaffolding, finishing the hallway. So we obviously had it all plastered, and now I need to sand it and paint it. So it's grand actually. The sand is a horrible job, but once that is done, that is the end of the kind of dirty work up here. Still obviously have to do the floor, but that's this part done, and I will then paint up high anyway. Whether I decide to paint down low, I don't know, because I still have to grind the floor. So yeah, so that's what I'm doing. Just honestly, it's not too bad actually. Clearly the more I plastered, the better I got. So there isn't a whole lot of sanding to do here. There is a little bit more down here because there was a slightly few awkward corners to get into down there. Okay, we are done with the sanding. The dust is all down. I've done that side of the corridor and this side. So all smooth, ready to go for paint. I've just, like a crazy woman, been sweeping the ceiling with a brush. That's what I helped actually to get the rest of the dust down before I paint. And now the dust is all settled on the ground, so I'm going to give it a vacuum as best I can. That door at the end, that plastic door, is one of those dust-proof doors from Lidl. The biggest pile of junk I've ever bought. It comes with some kind of sticky plastic. It's sticky on both sides, but there isn't even any stick on it when you try. Plasterboard wall and part of it to a stone wall. I wasn't expecting it to stick to the stone wall, which it didn't. But it doesn't even stick to the plasterboard when it's dusted. So I don't know what people do in regards to dust sheets. I was just trying to protect the one room that we have tidy, which is the bedroom. I can't deal with dust in there. Everywhere else, that's fine. We're able to close this bathroom door, so that's fine. But it's rubbish. So if you see them in Lidl, forget it. There's no point. I think you're just as well to use, like here, I've just put down vapor barrier, old vapor barrier, and it's heavy. And actually, do you know what? I probably should have just stuck that. That could have been stuck in the doorway just as easily. Anyway, I'm going to just quickly hoover this. So I'll quickly do that, the whole lot, and then we'll get the paint sprayer out. As you can see, just done that sort of little section there, going on really well. It's drying quite quickly. So I'm using the same paint that I used in the bedroom, called Topline Matte White. It's not an expensive paint, so I'm not too worried, as somebody else had mentioned actually, not to spend a lot of money on the first coat because it will be absolutely absorbed so quickly. Yeah, so we're doing okay, and it's going on well. I'm gonna just come and do this section here, and then come back and kind of do the split it into 4 quarters, 1, 2, 3, 4, as I did with the sanding. I've got sort of a little bit of that quarter done, and then I've got these 2 quarters to do. I've just refilled, I just thought I'd say to you, this Wagner paint sprayer holds 1800 ml, or in fluid ounces 60 fluid ounces. So that's how quickly I'm getting through it, I suppose. So that's where we are. I've got everybody trying to help. Are we helping, or are we just sniffing? Are we helping? Okay. So I'll keep going. It doesn't help when it's such an amazing day outside. So, going to move the scaffolding, and we're going to go just back here a small bit just so that I can get that done. And looks like I've painted my hair, but probably just grey. The sprayer is doing really, really well. I just thought I'd show you that there's nothing really to it, but just it sprays out of this little needle here. There's a needle in the inside. And just every now and again I have realised that it gets a little clogged up around here. So it's a good idea to just give that a little bit of a clean. And it suddenly starts spraying it out much wider again. You can have it wide or narrow. I think actually at the moment I have it wide, but it depends really what you're doing. So I'm going to set it up again, and we'll go for this side. This is not terribly exciting, but sure we'll show you anyway.
Hey folks, just a little update. I don't know how this is going to come across in the video, but I haven't been recording much. It's really tricky, intricate stuff, so it's very difficult to record. It's very bad angles. But what I had to do is, this whole pile of mess has one kind of breaker fuse, one circuit coming out of it for the first bedroom here. I wasn't sure whether I wanted it to come across the partition wall and go to the sockets that way, or whether I wanted it to go across the bathroom and come to the sockets this way. What I decided doing is bringing it across the partition wall so that we could have a socket coming off the space here. I think this is going to be a bookcase, but and then I brought that straight across and around the back and finished it off with a few sockets there and brought it down to another socket next to the bed. So that's hitting my... There's only 4 sockets actually. I think 5 is the target for a circuit. So I'm all fairly well wired. What I think I'm going to do now is I need to put some backing on this partition wall just so the insulation will fall out. I have some spare Tyvek. I think I'm just going to staple it to the back, and then I'm going to put a load of 150 mil insulation in. That'll be fine for the 6x2s. For the 4x2s, it's just going to be a bit more compressed, so it'll have an effect of sort of 110 mil insulation. But that'll be perfect. It's absolutely boiling up here. We have about 250 in the ceiling, and the south sun is just beating down on the wall here. The windows are doing a great job. So yeah, cozy room. So now I'm going to staple some Tyvek and fill in with some insulation. Let's give a go at that. So I made a few errors here. The first one is that these holes don't properly line up, so I had to get the multi-tool. The battery keeps falling out of the multi-tool, so it's not working very well. The other error I had was, well, as you saw, it started with the electrics not being lined up correctly, so I had to redo the electrics. So they were lined up with the snug downstairs so we can get power downstairs. Then I had to do the San Diego joints. I didn't have any joints on the roof or the walls to attach the plasterboard in the corners, so I had to do them. I'm doing the plasterboard now. I had to cut out for the beams, which was quite difficult, and as I was fitting it I realized that usually I put the plasterboard from the center because they're all 16 on center. It's just when I get to the very end on the gables, they might be at a weird angle, or they might be like 8 inch on center or something. but stupidly I started from the gable, which means this is just floating. It's not actually sitting on a rafter. So basically, it's a difficult job, but I made it like 10 times worse by making loads of silly mistakes. So it's not being terribly productive today. So, not going too bad here. Trying to figure out how to work above this beam. This is our collar ties. I want to take the roof or the walls straight up, but there's nothing to attach it to. So, I need to build some frame. Today was a painstakingly slow day. Lots of small things cropped up. I kind of hoped I'd just be coming up here to frame the window and put up some plasterboard, but didn't do much recording, just zoned out, listened to an audiobook. Tomorrow, hopefully, I don't know, will I put up the plasterboard yet, or will I actually just continue and finish off the vapor burying? We have 25 sheets of plasterboard outside, and we have a storm coming in a day or two's time, so I'm just kind of keen to bring them in, but I think I'd prefer to finish the vapor burying first. Good morning, everybody. It's a bit of a late one. It's gorgeous weather outside. I am upstairs in bedroom number 1, trying to make some progress. I see things that need to be done that we maybe forgot about or didn't think about, and yeah, there are things that possibly we left to think about over Christmas, or a few things we weren't focused on that now I'm looking at them and what a pain in the ass. So the position of the extractor fan was one of them here. The shower is there, but this is the highest point, so I think I wasn't sure where I was going to put the extractor fan. Eventually I put it there. I have a flick switch from the central extractor system that is going up there. I have to connect this wire that's hanging down there. That's the switch for the extractor, but I don't have power. So I just got to run a cable from the light switch to, or the power for the lights circuit to the extractor. So then what else have we? Oh yes, then I have this window that I installed, and I know when I installed it, I just used the 2 rafters and I put kind of a support across for the rafter I cut in half. But I had already planned to just tidy up here with a frame so we could plaster the roof, and obviously like that's what I'm doing now. So I've cut a piece of wood, so I've no idea what angle reveal I put on, and I've got to use this thingy to measure those angles. So that's what I'm at. Slow going, chipping away at it. It's definitely a huge improvement in this room. This whole wall has been rebuilt with a reveal. I'm not sure what material we're going to put for the window sill down there. It's going to be quite deep, so it'll be nice to use it as kind of like a shelf or something, or make it strong enough to throw some cushions on so you could sit on it. This big plasterboard lifter is really useful just for the first one, but for the rest of the roof I have to use halves because a full one won't fit up between the beams. I won't put any vapor barrier on this stud wall. I actually won't put insulation in it because there will be heat generated from the shower. There will also be a towel rail inside there as a radiator, so I want the heat to kind of move between both sides. The wall at the back where the shower is going to be, I'm going to paint that with tanking material. We're going to put a backer board there. It's going to have tanking material also. The ground, you can see the width of it there is exactly 120, so the backer board should go straight on. Tank the whole lot, tank the wall, plaster the top. Then the next thing I have to think about now, before I can get to plastering, is how exactly this toilet is gonna fit, how exactly I'm gonna position this. I think possibly at an angle and it's going to come out, but I'm not terribly sure yet on that. I just need to size it. I need to get something going through the wall there. And once I have the plumbing and the sewerage and the soil pipes done, I think I should be ready to plasterboard. But this is slow going. This is like, ugh, lots of small things. And I don't know if I said, but I was absolutely fecked last night. I said I finished early. I finished about 7 with some food. I had a shower, and after the shower I just went up to our new bedroom and I just said I'd just lie down. And it was before 8 p.m. and I just fell asleep. I was done for the whole night. Clare came in, she said, did I want a cup of tea or do we want to get up and do something? I couldn't get out of bed. Slept straight through till about 8:30 this morning. And it's a really weird feeling, like I'm not sick, don't have headaches, don't have stomachs, but just exhausted. It's like I've never felt this way before. And I did martial arts for like 15 years and I put in some long days of martial arts, like training 12 hours straight, really high impact training. My body would be tired but I wouldn't be exhausted. It's just a crazy level of exhaustion just working to this grant. We got about 3 months left of the grant. Our worry is if we do it in 3 months, we'll have missed this summer. We missed last summer, so we really just want to get it done as quickly as possible and just take a few weeks off when the weather is good. So we're really pushing ourselves. And let this be a lesson to any of you out there in the grant, and I know there's a few of you out there. Get all of your work done up front. Like, put in 18-hour days. There is not time at the end. There is absolutely no time at the end of this grant process. What happens at the end of the grant process is you start to make compromises of what you can and can't get done within the time frame. So lessen those compromises, just work so hard up at the beginning. We put in really long days at the beginning. Over winter we kind of took it easy a little bit, but we're kind of feeling that now. So, and your body, you just can't take it. Like, there's just literally, you're doing the work when you do this. When you build a house like this, you're doing the work for about 20 people. I'm not saying you're doing 20 times the work, but just alone here, I have a tool belt for framing, for building the studs. I have a tool belt for roofing. I have an electrical tool bag. I have a plumbing tool bag. I have all the insulation and vapor barrier. You gotta wear like gloves and stuff. So it's like all the different things that's a one-person job. There's like at least 6 jobs going on in here. And yeah, it takes its toll. I'm feeling it. We worked pretty hard last week to get the kitchen and the bedroom somewhat done. But yeah, we're feeling it now. Afternoon, folks. Clare just brought us home some lunch, which perked things up quite a bit. It's hard to record and I'm really stuck for time, so I'm driving on, but I finished up this little bit of a frame. So that's the bathroom. V-Lock's done. So that's as far as I'm taking the roof. I'm not going to vapor barrier here because we're going to use the backer board, which is cement hardy backer, and we're going to do a tanking kit, which is going to be waterproof. Trying to figure out where the toilet should go. I have put temporarily, this is a space-saving toilet pan on, because I have a few stud walls that I wanted to get through. This is the stud wall to the bathroom. I mean, I could just cut the stud off, but there's no harm using this if I can. I have another stud wall to the hot press and another stud wall on the other side of the hot press. So this will allow me to run a straight pipe the whole way through. I just wanted to size that up and give me enough space so I can have enough of a fall on the angles. I'm ready then to put the plasterboard up. That's pretty cool actually. Super slow going, but if I can get it all done, then tomorrow or in a few days time when the next video comes out, we should be plasterboarding. So now, San Diego joint, cut through here, get the soil pipe. Maybe give it a tidy up, move up some plasterboard. Good evening, folks. We're just out of the shower. Well, sorry, let's rephrase. I'm just out of the shower. Claire was out of the shower earlier. It's about 10 o'clock at night, is it? What time is it? No, it must be later.
20 to 11.
It's 20 to 11. Look at this sunset. Stunning, isn't it? Well, we just wrapped up. Man, we moved some crap today, didn't we?
It's just you don't realise how long it takes to move the plasterboard. And when we first got plasterboard delivered, we were really lucky and we got our neighbour next door to move it in to the kitchen with his forklifts. And then
before we had
had
windows
to move it, but we only had to move it to a different side of the kitchen, which we did relatively easy. But moving plasterboard upstairs and around a house is just no joke.
The plasterboard isn't very heavy, but it's difficult to move around these old farmhouse things. And then we left, when we put down the OSB flooring, we didn't know we use it again to make wardrobes or to make furniture, so we left
walls, desks and
how much
stuff.
was it, like 15, 20 sheets of it
upstairs.
And it's the thick 18mm stuff, so that was tough to move down. And then we had to move up all the plasterboard, but we're ready now. And I've done all of the kind of the vapor barring and the electrical in Kira's room, so I'm ready to put up all the plasterboard. I'm quite excited to see that go up.
Does look good.
There'll be a bit of faffing about. You'll see that in the next episode, doing some plumbing. I haven't done plumbing in a while, but yeah, hopefully by the end of next week we'll have made a serious dent in that one bedroom, and then the following week maybe we'll be moving on to the next bedroom. So it feels like things are flying.
Yeah, it does now. I think we were just really waiting to get going upstairs, weren't we?
Yeah.
And once I've done the painting, and then I have to do the floors, and that's downstairs done.
Yeah, and I was proper wrecked like 2 days ago, and we said we'd take it easy today, and here we are midweek.
Yeah.
Out till 10:30, just lifting shit. And we've said this so many times, that this renovation project since the beginning feels like moving stuff from one place to another, and then back to another place, and then back to another place, and back to another place. But for the time being anyway, the OSB is going to stay down in barn number 4.
Yeah, and then you were saying that there were things that we should have done before we'd finished some of the framing upstairs, which then you had to come back to.
Yeah.
So, what can you say? Like, you try to be as organised as possible for the next step, but it's hard as well when you're trying to keep stuff in the house as well and keep it dry.
Yeah.
So, it's all go.
And don't leave anything till the next day. Future self will be very pissed off at present.
Yeah.
Time said. If you got a chance to do something, do it now. Anyway, it's freezing. We're wrecked. I should be in bed, I'd say, an hour or two ago. We're just going to have a quick cup of tea, catch up on YouTube, and hit the sack. Early day tomorrow. Big things are happening. So we say good night.
Slán go fóill.